What's up, guys? George Balekji here with Travis Thomas. Yeah. Boston has entered the chat. Second week in a row at Fenway, my man.
We are living the dream. Usually, his credo is chasing summer. But right now, we're living the dream, bro. We've been at Fenway. I mean, we might as well just sleep here at this point.
When it comes to summertime, there's the biggest beer garden in Boston. It's right here.
Preach.
So you're chasing summer. It doesn't have to be beaches.
Preach.
To me, it's warm weather. It's sunlight.
Yes.
A little chilly right now, but nothing too bad.
We're in the sun. It's all good.
It's good to be back at Fenway, man.
And
I think the coolest thing, you look back.
Yeah.
Again, just looking at this cathedral, looking at this behemoth, this monster.
Yes.
This institution of history.
Yeah.
This icon of Boston.
Keep going.
Dormant.
Yeah.
Just in a few days, man.
We'll be here for that, too.
Oh, I can't wait.
We'll be here for that, too. I can't wait, bro.
We talked about it a little, but, like, you know, we're talking Fenway memories. Yeah. What's opening day for you, like home opening day?
Well, home opening day in my career, I covered so many Orioles home openers and Nationals home openers, and I was always on the scene. Then I moved to Boston. All these Red Sox home openers, I'm at the studio. So this is the first year now I'll be here amongst the people for a home opener. You know, that means everything to me, GB, because I'm a man of the people.
I was going to say, you're the mayor. Unofficial mayor, man.
In fact, man, you know.
Here we go. I was going to say something. I guess he left him in his car.
I ain't slipping, GB.
I know you better than that. You're my boy. Yep. Yep.
Now it's official, baby. Let's go.
Do you have one of those in blue, one of those in red?
I have them in every color.
Yep. Okay.
Okay.
I'm just confirming.
Yes.
You got the Sox shades on. I got something special, too. So, also part of being at the ballpark today.
Yeah.
Red Sox, their chefs, unveiling their new menu.
Oh.
You know me, man. I'm a foodie.
Smells good
so
over
I'm
there.
going to start first with the...
Okay.
This is the pineapple bacon sausage with coleslaw.
Get after it.
This looks good.
Get
drop the
after
mic
it.
for a second.
Here, go ahead. Now, we're going in here. You can see George in his natural habitat, savagery. Oh, man, that's a healthy bite. Are you going to be able to do this? Oh, wow. Man, I was just kidding about the savage thing, but it turns out it's true. What do you think? It's good? It looked good. Are you even breathing? Like, are you inhaling? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I was a little concerned.
This is my normal bite.
I don't understand. How are you not 600 pounds?
I don't know how I'm not single.
Ah!
That's what it is.
That's was
really
intense, man.
Has a unique flavor to it.
Now, that one's a Cowboy Up burger. I saw that one earlier.
Shout out to our guy, Kevin Millar.
Yeah.
This is a Cowboy Up burger.
Yeah.
Cheeseburger. Brisket.
Oh.
Bacon.
Oh.
Onion rings.
Oh, my goodness.
Special barbecue sauce.
Yes, Lord.
On a brioche bun.
Yes, Lord.
Ready for this one?
Go ahead, man. Don't hurt yourself, please, or anyone else for that matter. Watch this bite, folks. That kid's from New Jersey. That's what that is. That is a New Jersey bite. Talk to me. Yeah? All right. Can we get a towel, perhaps, for George, or maybe a hose to hose him down?
I'm good.
You straight?
Mm-hmm.
A napkin, serviette, anyone.
I love food.
We see that. We know that to be true.
Definitely bit off more than
I mean, it's all over television, man. We see it. Congratulations.
Last thing, we got dessert. I want your review on this.
All right, fine. You give me this dainty little. You take all these monster bites, and then I get this. Now this is a Boston cream pie and like a parfait.
So this is a
vibe.
chiffon sponge, a little French.
Je ne sais quoi.
Exactly. Vanilla bean.
All right.
Dark chocolate ganache.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
It's a bit bougie, but it is good. It's a bit bougie.
It's a high
Boston cream pie is what this is.
It's a high class Boston cream.
Yeah.
It's good though.
Yeah.
So
That is
10
good.
out of 10 on the pineapple.
Yes.
10 out of 10 on the Cowboy Up.
Yes.
Kevin Millar. Chiffon sponge. I'll take a quick bite.
Je ne sais quoi. Pepe la plume. Si, oui, oui, bon, bon.
I love baseball. I love Fenway Park. You get sports.
Facts.
You're outdoors. It's
Yep.
fun.
Yep.
You get beer.
Yep.
You get food.
It's the best.
That's like all I need in life.
What more do you need? I think that's all you need in life.
You know what?
I'm good with that.
That was delicious. I'm going to try and not eat that throughout the entire episode. I'm
What
gonna
about
save that
you,
at the
bro? Did you do any like home openers here since you've been here? Like here amongst the peeps? Or were you studio like me?
end. No, I've been here amongst the people.
Okay.
I'll tell you, my first time ever coming to Fenway.
Yeah.
Flew out from Wisconsin to audition for the job here at NESN. And I got done with that. Texted my buddy that lives here. I go, let's go get a beer. You need to take me to Fenway. And he's like, all right, I know the perfect bar. We went to Bleacher Bar.
You went to Bleacher Bar for your first one? Wow.
Walk out, see the center field, like that image. Again,
Wow.
we're looking Fenway, beautiful. For me, first game, I've been to a home opener. To me, it was the first Friday night Fenway. You know, like
Yeah.
it was because I got here in August. So it was that first Friday night at Fenway. Hot September. Still felt like summer. Packed ballpark. They won. Fenway's so special.
Oh, man. That's cool.
All
That's
right,
a cool
so
story.
let's get into enough about the food. We're going to talk a little bit about everything that's going on right now around Major League Baseball. The biggest thing are these torpedo bats.
I love them.
So everyone knows that I like to hear that.
I love them.
The Yankees debuted the torpedo bats.
Yeah.
What makes it interesting is that they caught the public eye this season. Jazz Chisholm,
Yeah.
Anthony Volpe, guys were using them. Dudes that don't hit home runs.
That's right.
All of a sudden, Anthony Volpe already has 3 home runs for the first weekend of the season. Jazz Chisholm's hitting dingers. Aaron Judge doesn't use it. But now we're seeing it catch on around the league. The Yankees had it. We saw Alex Bregman post on his Instagram story a shot of him getting his hands on a torpedo bat. Ellie De La Cruz for the Reds acquired one. Went 4 for 5, 2 home runs, a double. Lowest exit velocity of any of his hits, 99 miles per hour.
Woo-wee.
So, and for the people that don't know, the rules in baseball are the length and the diameter of the bat.
Right.
Diameter. Excuse me, I'm still working through the cowboy
Okay.
upper.
It was a food.
But basically what they do with the torpedo bats is that you have a certain amount of wood you can allocate for an entire bat. Instead of having it all at the top, they moved it down 6-7 inches more towards where the label is. So when batters are getting jammed up, it basically takes, like, you have a chip. If you chip the ball, all right, you foul it off. That becomes a flare.
That's right.
A flare becomes some pop. A pop, well, that could become a long line drive or a home
You just want to create contact, essentially, with that bat, and you're in good shape.
It creates a bigger sweet spot.
Right.
So what do you think of what we're seeing now with torpedo bats? Has started with the Yankees.
Love it.
We've seen guys on the Blue Jays use them. Jose Trevino with the Reds. Ellie De La Cruz, as I mentioned. And it looks like Alex Bregman's going to be using it at Fenway.
I love it. I think baseball's on an absolute heater in general. Remember this. They've changed the rules to make the games go faster. We love the pitch clock. We've talked about that, amongst other things. They're willing to experiment with robot umps and all this kind of stuff. This is just another extension of that. The torpedo bats, I think it's great. I think scoring's up. I think it's exciting. If I was a player in a slump right now and I wasn't using these bats, I would say, hey, give me one of those torpedo bats. Yeah. If I'm hot right now, and I'm not using it, I would say, give me one of those torpedo bats. Let's see if it can make me even better.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think this is some sort of unfair advantage or any of that. How many times do we see in sports? You and I talked about this. I think it's lame as all get out. In the NFL right now, all these teams are B-wording and moaning about the tush push and trying to get it taken out of the game. That's lame to me. Stop it or adjust or do it yourself. With this, I feel like every team should embrace this. I don't think there should be any other team complaining like, oh, these bats are ruining. No, get it, okay? Get it for your team and get it for your players who want to use it. And I would encourage all my players to use these bats. I think it's great for baseball. I really do.
I think it had that stink around it because who else in the Yankees would be the ones to debut it? You know, it's the evil empire. They're cheating.
The brand.
Right? The amount of, they put up 20 runs, lit up the Brewers pitching staff too. But you actually go back to 2024, Giancarlo Stanton uses. Giancarlo Stanton, who everyone's like, what is going on? He turned back the clock.
Yeah.
7 home runs in 14, 15 games. All of a sudden look like a youthful Giancarlo. Now the rest of the Yankees have it. What's interesting is like a Davis Schneider with the Blue Jays is using it. And how he acquired the torpedo bat, the companies that make these bats visited these teams during spring training.
Is he MIT?
The guy that created it.
Yeah. And there you go.
So the guy that created it was a consultant for the Yankees, MIT brain.
Okay.
He's now with the Miami Marlins. But he basically looked at it, and again, you put together the wood, what's going on with the torpedo bats is, and it's such a fun thing to say, everyone's going, well, it's cheating. You said it. Everyone has access to it.
Yeah, it's not cheating.
There are bat manufacturers that are greenlit by Major League Baseball. You're good to make bats.
Yeah.
And they could custom make the bats to this order. He basically took what a classic bat is in baseball and has a budget for wood. a certain
Right.
amount, and he said, let's just move it down. Using the same amount of wood,
Yeah.
same length, same diameter.
It's within the rules.
Putting the sweet spot further down.
Mm-hmm.
And we've seen players like Davis Schneider of the Blue Jays, wasn't using one. Bat Company visited them during spring training. He said, let me try 2 of those. Now he's using it. Ellie De La Cruz for the Cincinnati Reds, one of the best players in baseball, one of the most electric players, now using it. And we see 2 home runs in its debut in the exit velo. We see that it's Anthony Volpe, Jazz Chisholm, Cody Bellinger, Paul Goldschmidt using that. Out of the Yankees' first 15 home runs, 9 of those were the torpedo bat.
Yeah.
Any hitter in baseball can use it.
That's right.
And that's your point. Aaron Judge, not using it. He's like,
Right.
I'm good how I am. Anthony Volpe was getting jammed up a bunch. He's using it. Alex Bregman, hitting the ball well, not necessarily generating power. No RBIs, no extra base hits yet as of the recording of this podcast. But that's a professional hitter that's been making good contact. He sees that, and the rest of the batters are going, okay, let me get it. Is it unfair to pitchers? I'm open to that argument. But
No.
it's not like there's a trademark and only the Yankees can use it.
I'm not open to the argument. You bring up a couple good points. The Yankees debuting this is why there was a bad connotation on it, I think. I think you make a good point there. If it's the Marlins doing this, no one cares. And if anything, the torpedo bat is a star, which I think it is, okay? The other thing you said that I agree with is it's not cheating. People that are using that term for this bat, you're just stupid. Like, steroids was cheating. We saw what baseball looked like with steroids. Now, it's another topic for another podcast because I do miss it. I miss the home runs. Okay, that's another topic for another day. But that was cheating. That was taking players who had no business hitting 50 jacks, and all of a sudden they were, right? Or even like great players, it took them to another stratosphere. That's cheating. I think this bat, to be honest, I think it kind of evens the playing field for everyone. I think the opposite. I think more teams, more players should embrace this. I would like to get to a point where every player is using this kind of bat. Again, I think it's great for baseball. Anytime you can have the runs up, and we know when you get into these pitching duels and you're going to the bullpen and you're making all these chess moves, your skipper has to figure out all the arms. That's what slows games down, George. When you're scoring runs, baby, not only do you get scoring in the game and higher scoring baseball games, but they move, the games move. I think that matters too. I'm a big fan of these bats. Thinking about getting one myself.
The one I give it to is for the pitchers. They were using sticky stuff and it was ruled out.
Yeah.
Now, and pitchers are working they know how to pitch certain guys. I'm going to jam this one up. I'm going to get a ground ball out of it. My elite defense behind me is going to make it work. But now these jammed up batters like a Volpe are now becoming home runs.
Right.
That's where it comes to, the rest of the league's going to catch up. The Yankees basically got a week and a half
They got a
head
jump.
start.
Yeah. But it's
now,
available to everyone.
Exactly.
They were smart.
The rest of the hitters will catch up.
Right.
For how damn good the pitching is.
Yeah.
For baseball is a sport that introduced a pitching clock. Bigger bases for stealing. They want the game to be more exciting. Torpedo bats are making it more exciting. And what I compare it to, if they were to make torpedo bats illegal, it's within the rules of the game. That would be like putting a cap on the amount of three-pointers the Celtics can shoot in a game.
That's right.
Right?
Yep.
That would be like people watching the Golden State Warriors and going, Steph's unfair. He can't shoot that many threes. No. You can go get a shooter like that to Steph's level. No. And also, to the steroid argument of this too, you can take all the juice. You can have the torpedo bat. You still got to hit.
That's right.
And that's still really difficult. Jose Trevino, it's not doing anything for him. The guys like the Volpes, the Paul Goldschmidts, the Cody Bellingers, it's helping them. I'm excited to see Bregman with the torpedo bat. It's something that modernizes the game even more. And even think about it like it too. For all those years, baseball was using a bat one way.
Yeah.
For all those years in basketball, they were playing in Chuck Taylors.
Right.
Love Converse,
Right.
terrible for your feet.
Right.
That would be like Nike coming along going, this supports your foot better. It's modern science and physics. It'll make for a better sport. And everyone going, nah, we don't like that. We're going to keep it as is.
No doubt. If I'm a player, I would want to exhaust every possible way for me to have a competitive edge.
Yep.
Every possible way within the rules. And if you're telling me it's a bat made from some guy at MIT, sign me up. I'll take a swing at it, literally.
I just love torpedo bats.
I know.
That's
even the name.
The word of the year.
Yeah.
And it's brilliant. It's funny. It looks
That's
like
how they look.
It looks like candlepin bowling.
It
like
does.
when you get here in Boston, kind of.
Yep.
It's just like how awkward it looks. But then when you're not seeing a zoomed up picture and they're just swinging with it, you don't even notice the difference.
Yeah. Would you go regular bat or torpedo?
Man, I'd go whatever helps me hit the
That's
best.
what I'm saying.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why I think like the cheating thing drives me nuts because it's not cheating. It's available to everyone. And in fact, I think if you're too rigid with this, if you're too stuck in your ways of, I only use the Louisville Slugger, old school. Okay, well, good luck. I'm going to take this torpedo bat and get 4 ribbies tonight. Thanks.
Hey, talking about Alex Bregman, talking about the Red Sox. TC and Alex Spear, they caught up with Craig Breslow, leader of the Red Sox front office, on the latest episode of 310 to Left. Check out the conversation with Craig Breslow right here.
You guys have also increasingly had an emphasis on signing young players over the course of prime years, right? Like whether it's a Rafael, whether it's a Bayo. How would you describe the importance of these types of long-term deals for younger players in terms of longer range vision of team building?
Yeah, so I think it's an important, it's even a critical pillar of long-term sustainability of our strategy to compete for World Series year after year. And that recipe has long been a combination of homegrown talent that we can build around, supplemented by trades and free agent acquisitions. And I see no reason to reinvent that. Now, that being said, I think it becomes a testament to so many different people when young players want to sign up for staying in one place and for staying particularly in Boston for the bulk of their career. It starts with our scouting department and the relationships that are built there. It moves on to the player development system and creating the environment where players recognize that they're invested in and they can improve and get better in this organization, and then aligning with the longer term direction and strategy of the major league team in terms of sustainability and the ability to compete in the postseason year after year. I mean, every player who makes it to the major leagues is supremely competitive and seeks winning. Often above all else. And so many things have to go right to create an organization where players want to stay here. And the willingness of guys like Bayo and Zidane, Garrett, and Whitlock before I got here, I think that shows that we're absolutely moving in the right direction.
And which Christian Campbell obviously fits right into that. Reports over the weekend that there were conversations going on. I know you won't take us into those conversations. I've learned enough not to ask those questions. But are you engaged? Is that something that could continue during the course of the season?
Yeah, I mean, we have conversations, with the representation for the players that we think could fit, what I just described in terms of players who, feel like the organization and the Red Sox are a franchise that they want to commit to, and also that we can find, very, very strong merit in committing to ourselves. And sometimes those conversations are very, very productive, and other times the timing doesn't line up. Christian had mentioned that we've been engaged. It's hard to know exactly where that goes, but we're incredibly excited that he is going to be a part of this organization for a really long time, and 5 games is not a sample that you want to draw too many conclusions from, but I think his ability to make adjustments and adapt has suited him very, very well, even dating back to his college career. And we've seen just how quickly he's been able to acclimate to the speed of the major league game.
Organizations are always happy and excited when young players thrive, but he's a guy who in a lot of ways represents a lot of what this organization is about, right? He bought into a lot of the ideas. He bought in a lot of the off-season work. How gratifying is it for the organization to see a guy who gets the opportunity get the results as quickly as he has? It doesn't mean he will every day, but he's hit the ground running after putting in a lot of work. That's got to be gratifying.
Yeah, in a lot of ways, he is exemplary of this intersection of scouting and development and kind of major league performance, again, albeit in a very, very small sample, just in terms of identifying some underlying characteristics that we believed could be enhanced in the organization, of Christian committing to just an incredible amount of work, spending the offseason in Fort Myers, 2 years now, and kind of leaning into the development initiatives that were introduced to him, and then continuing development in major league spring training as he's trying to make a team, and so far, a week or so into a major league season, and as much as excited as we absolutely should be about Christian, he's not the only example, of those types of successes. And in order for us to accomplish what we hope to, which is to be able to contend for the World Series year after year, we need to make sure that we continue to replenish this talent pipeline as guys matriculate to the big leagues.
So speaking of matriculators, you also have a couple of promising players in AAA right now. Marcelo Meyer was pretty clear about how he had a great camp. I think objectively, like, you were there for Jackie Bradley Jr. in 2013. Like, to me, I thought that Meyer had a better camp this year than Jackie did, and that's saying a lot. What does Marcelo Meyer wants to be in the big leagues? Roman Anthony wants to be in the big leagues. What do they have to do to be in the big leagues? And was there ever a thought was there ever a question about Meyer versus Campbell for the opening day roster?
There were questions throughout spring about the right way to build the roster. And I think the opening day roster is magnified because of the celebration and the excitement about that first game. But in reality, it is one of 162, and rosters change very, very quickly. But kind of getting back to Marcelo, he was certainly in the conversation, as were a handful of other guys. Vaughn was obviously in camp with us for nearly the entirety of camp, and Sogard and his versatility was something that left a strong impression on us. But in terms of what Marcelo could come into camp and show, I think most importantly, he showed he was healthy. He showed just how smooth of a defender he could be. It didn't matter if we put him at shortstop, second base, third base. It just seemed like the game never sped up on him. And then we saw the offensive upside. So I think while I'm sure Marcelo is disappointed that he didn't make our opening day roster, I have quite a bit of confidence that he's going to impact our team. In the fact that he is completely healthy, he can go down to Worcester and he can get every day at bats and continue on his development is really the most important thing right now. But when you talk about Marcelo and Roman and Christian, we are incredibly excited about having all three of those guys in the organization.
The fact that you did choose Campbell obviously gives you another right-handed bat in the lineup. Bregman does the same, right? Like, there was, you were intentional and you were explicit about the idea that you wanted to add more right-handed, more right-handed balance to the lineup this offseason. So along those lines, it's worth asking as we sit and get ready for the home opener this year, how much was lineup strategy, lineup balance? How much was that wrapped around the question of, hey, how do we claim a home field advantage at Fenway, something that hasn't happened a lot over the course of recent years in Red Sox history?
Yeah, well, we are very aware of the park factors that contribute to kind of Fenway's the uniqueness of Fenway and the skew and favor that right-handed hitters who can hit the ball in the air to the pull side can bring. And so we had Tyler O'Neill, of course, last year, in his 31 home runs, many of which did go over the monster. And we needed to ensure that not only did we have balance in terms of, not being so vulnerable to left-handed pitching, but also taking advantage of where we play 81 games. And so, I talked about it in Alex Bregman's introductory press conference that his offensive profile fits our park really, really well. And then Christian obviously gives us another right-handed bat, but also a right-handed bat that we feel can be pretty platoon neutral. He's hit both righties and lefties throughout his short minor league career, and also his ability to use the whole field. He's not maybe the prototypical kind of right-handed pull hitter, but we do feel like he's talented enough to impact the game. So, we saw it in facing, Povich in Baltimore, where we could run out a right-handed hitter at first base to get Romy Gonzalez's bat in there, and at second base with Christian and Trevor at shortstop, and Ref in right, and Sedan in center, and Connor behind the plate. So all of a sudden, this left-handed skew that we talked about for a while was in fact mitigated by a couple pretty impactful hitters.
It's the home opener, but it's also interesting that it comes against the Cardinals, right? Like it's pretty well documented that you guys were engaged with the Cardinals over the course of the offseason in trade talks involving Arenado, and that Arenado made very clear his interest in coming to the Red Sox. I suppose it's worth stepping back, and you were interested not only in improving the offense at home, the team at home, but also in upgrading the infield defense, which led to conversations about multiple third basemen. You signed Bregman, and again, there was the Arenado question. Does that, given that interest, was there a world in which you would have had discussions with Rafi earlier in the offseason about the positional question and about which direction you were taking the team? Just given, you've talked many times about what he means to the organization. Would it have made more sense to have kind of had those conversations explicitly earlier in the offseason rather than focusing them chiefly after a player was added?
You try to balance so many different elements anytime you think about what is best for an organization and what is best for any individual player. And there were so many different outcomes and so many moving pieces that could have necessitated certain conversations and could have rendered certain conversations moot. And so I think, operating from a position of certainty to the extent possible is typically what allows you to be the most straightforward and forthright and truthful. When we signed Alex, we signed this offensive profile that fit our park, and we signed what we knew was going to be an elite defender, and exactly how those pieces were going to come together. We needed to kind of wait and see, and the conversations that I had with Rafi, that we had with Rafi, I think it is appropriate to keep those between us, but at the end of the day, we saw Rafi come forward and say that he was putting the team and putting winning, and that is all you can ask for from anybody on a roster, especially your superstar. And I have no doubt that we're going to look up and Rafi's going to have another incredibly productive offensive season. He's going to help us win a bunch of games.
Stream the entire Sox season with an NESN 360 annual plan, available at an all-new reduced price of just $20 a month, paid annually. And for a limited time, get 4 free tickets to Fenway with your purchase. Visit NESN360.com to sign up today. Man, 4 free tickets to beautiful Fenway. I'll take that.
I'd take that with a complimentary Torpedo bat.
I like
Can
it.
Can we get a complimentary Torpedo bat?
And a pineapple sausage, whatever I just had in a Cowboy burger. I'm all for it, my man. All right, you guys know what we do every episode of Boston Has Entered the Chat.
Yes.
Let's get into what's trending.
All
3
right.
topics, 2-minute timer, each one.
I'll time us.
All right,
Let's do
keep
it.
keep us on par here. So let's start with the Dodgers, off to a franchise record 7-0 start. Is this the deferred money problem in MLB baseball? This is also the Dodgers coming off that World Series win, and the Dodgers who just got, Blake Snell,
Yeah.
Tyler Glasnow,
That's what it is.
Yamamoto.
That's what it is.
Shohei Ohtani.
It's not the
money. Who
deferred
could pitch now.
It's not the deferred
Mookie
money.
Betts.
Bro, they've been doing
but they could do that because of deferred money.
Yeah.
Shohei should be getting $60 million a year. They're paying him $2 million.
I
Here's
agree.
the thing. You can do it, and it's the same thing with the torpedo bat.
Yes.
Deferred money does worse to baseball than what the torpedo bats do. They're going to create more runs. Pitchers will adjust. Water will find its level. Now, all the owners can defer the money. That is something that the Dodgers choose to do.
Teams have been doing that.
You want parity in sports, and you don't want this to be a race of everyone killing themselves over the regular season, only for the Dodgers to do it again.
Teams have been deferring money forever. Bobby Bonilla, we joke every year about how he gets paid, right?
Bregman's got deferred money in his deal.
I mean, teams do this. This isn't like some new thing. That's why I think the Dodgers get a bad rap for that part of it. It's just, much like the torpedo bats, to your point, it's available to everyone. They just really double down on it. And the reason they're off to the start that they're off to is because they're not the Dodgers. They're the Avengers. You just heard George run through the entire roster. It is ridiculous. They have an embarrassment of riches. Now, is it because they have deferred all these big contracts for these big stars? That's a part of it, but it's not the reason why. Every other team in this league can do the same thing the Dodgers are doing. The Dodgers just do it better, and they're smarter. In the end, this team's going to a World Series. We all know it. It's just a matter of, is there anyone from the AL that can stand up, little engine that could, and beat this team or at least challenge them? Please. Maybe it's one where we're sitting right now when they get it together and they get the bats working. But I'm telling you, this Dodgers team is the Avengers, George. There's nothing anyone can do. They have to beat themselves, I think. Injuries, mistakes.
Yes.
But, I mean, again, this is a championship team. Are they really going to shoot themselves in the foot? Probably not.
I don't think so. And it's even you talk AL because that'd be a World Series matchup. In
Right.
the NL, it's the Mets or the Braves. The Braves won't have Jurickson Profar in the postseason.
No.
Their leadoff hitter. The Mets, the pitching, I just don't
That's
trust,
right.
especially Sean Manaea starting on his back foot, dealing
Phillies
with an
have
injury.
the talent. I don't know if I trust
Not
them
pitching.
in the postseason.
It's an
though.
old team.
It's an old team.
But they can hit.
They've been laying eggs, though, in the postseason.
It's what you watch where you get one guy out and then it's another MVP steps up.
Right.
You get a win over one starting pitcher like a Snell.
Yeah.
And then it's Yamamoto or Glasnow.
Yeah.
Shoot, man, we could see it once every 7 days. It could end up being Shohei, and that's how it's going to go.
That's a problem. All right, our time's up.
All
What's
right.
next? I told you I was going to be strict on this.
Especially talking Dodgers.
Oh,
Those
they
Dodgers.
make me sick.
UFC and Meta partner in a multi-million-dollar partnership will include an AI-based ranking system for fighters and other forms of content. This is kind of a funny one because
Yeah.
Mark Zuckerberg's been into, training for
Yeah.
MMA now.
He's jacked now, bro.
Yeah, owns Meta.
He's swole.
That's exactly what I would do if I was a billionaire. I would be made out of a lap, but that's besides the point. What's interesting is could this lead to live events being on Facebook or Instagram Live? Now that would be free, so I could see a paywall going in front, but it's how everything changes where Netflix, Apple, Amazon, cable TV,
Yeah.
NESN, eventually it could be, hey, you want to watch the Sox game, let's say.
Right.
Go throw it on Facebook. You want to go watch UFC 2 whatever.
Yeah.
Go throw it on Instagram Live.
I think that's where we're headed. Look, I'm from the old school. I'm a huge fight fan.
Yeah.
I grew up watching boxing. I remember the UFC when there were no rules, when there was no weight classes, and you would have a sumo wrestler against a jiu-jitsu guy that weighs 160 pounds. I go back that far. The beginning stages, Tito Ortiz, guys like that. So I've watched this sport grow over the years, George, and I think we're headed to exactly what you said. I think eventually you'll be able to watch it on Facebook Live or Instagram Live. There will be a paywall. Let me correct you. You said there may be
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no. Okay, there will be a paywall, and it'll be a hefty one, too. You're going to pay a big price to be able to do that. But I remember the days. I know I sound like the old head now, but back in the day, George, you could just take your remote while at home. You're like, yep, I'm going to order the fight tonight. You could order it at noon. Go on about your day, come home at night, watch the fight. Now, oh my God, it feels like I have to give my social security number. I have to have a subscription to this thing to make sure I could get the fight. I have to pee in a cup. I made that part up, but I'm just exaggerating to show you how hard it is to watch a fight nowadays. So this is just another step of that. The nerds are taking all my money. It's unbelievable. Time's up.
Okay. I just feel what sucks is that
Mic drop.
This is trending in the direction where everyone gets together, has one of these,
Yeah.
and you
Yeah.
watch it with your headphones.
Yeah, it used to be a big screen TV. Now
that's-
it's a laptop
That's
with
what
your boys.
yeah.
It's weird.
But you know what it'll eventually be? It won't be a laptop with your boys. You're watching it from home, and I guess you're texting.
Oh,
It's just weird.
right.
It's tech, man.
It's tech.
Mark Zuckerberg likes a fight game, and
Yep.
it's all money. Okay. Nikola Jokic, 61-point triple-double he had. So now the debate going around, 2001 Shaq, prime Shaq,
Ooh.
against now Nikola Jokic.
Yeah.
Two physical beings.
Yeah.
Jokic is just the funniest anomaly. Who would you take? 2001 Shaq averaging 27 and 10. He's 7'3", 330 pounds, runs the floor like a gazelle. Everything around the rim he controls. Also Shaq, one of the most dominant NBA players of all time. But Jokic is literally dominating the league right now.
I watched both. Shaq was more dominant physically. But George, childhood me is so upset right now.
Oh.
I got to do it.
What?
I'm sorry, young Trav. The grown-up, I've seen the light. It's Jokic. Listen, to Shaq's credit, the game was not extended out like it is now for a big man.
Yeah.
In Shaq's era, get down in the post, big boy. Give us a post move, spin either way, jump hook either hand, up and under, dunk on faces, grab rebounds, block shots. Where he was dominant and he had an advantage, he could run the floor like nobody's business at his size. That was great. But bigs didn't shoot threes. Shaq couldn't hit 15-footers, even when you could at that time. That wasn't his game. Couldn't shoot free throws. Jokic can do all the above.
Yeah.
He can do everything I just described. He can block shots. He doesn't. He doesn't play defense. I'll give Shaq the nod there, but I think a lot of that's attitude for Jokic. I think at times we've seen Jokic play defense, timely stops.
Mm-hmm.
I got to go Jokic, man.
Mm-hmm.
The Joker is just unbelievable. I've never seen anything like this, ever.
He had 61, 10, and 10. It was a double OT loss to the T-Wolves.
It was.
He needed 2 overtimes to get to that mark, but the way he just completely controls every single game when he's out there on the floor, and that's a separator. What a matchup that would be. But that would also be Jokic being able to get Shaq out from the paint because of everything he could do from the nail, everything he could do from the perimeter, where the ball's in his hands and his high IQ play.
Yep.
Shaq was just so athletic, so dominant, but also in a tougher defensive era of the NBA as well. That's what I think makes this great. Jokic defending Shaq, though, like that would be something that Shaq would hunt. And I would have to imagine that would take Jokic out of his game.
Yeah, but threes are more than twos. Shaq has to guard him too.
Yeah.
And remember this, Shaq was emotional. Jokic is emotionless. He is an assassin, bro. I'm just saying.
You know how pissed he was when I went to his second overtime? Like, just get me to my horses. I just want to watch horses tonight.
Time's up. Jokic is saying that too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Time's up. Time's up.
Yeah. He's like, come on.
Come
Let's
on.
just give it a tie. Who
Hey,
cares?
brother.
Brothers, let's go. Let's get together. We play next time. It's okay. It's a regular season. It's all right. If you're enjoying the show, be sure to check out NESN's Patriots podcast, Foxborough Rush. Travis and I just did a 32-team first-round mock draft.
Yes.
Trav did his thing, man.
I did, man.
I may be GM George, but he's assistant GM Trav.
I was hanging in there.
Director of Pro Personnel Trav. You can catch new episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, including that episode with the mock draft. As always, leave comments on our YouTube page. We love to bring you guys into the show. That's Foxborough Rush, everything Patriots, Drake May, Mike Vrabel, everything Robert Kraft, as we'll talk about in just a moment, wherever you get your podcasts. All right, T, so entering an interesting time in the tenure of Robert Kraft.
Yeah.
He's going to be 84 years old in June, and he was asked down at Palm Beach, hey, this is the same age that other significant owners in the history of the NFL have taken a step back and handed the keys over, getting to that old age. So he was asked, is there any succession plan? He's like, look, man, I may be about to be 84, but I feel like I'm 35. Mm-hmm. He joked about it, and you could tell that is how he vibes. I will be critical of Robert Kraft at times, but like own to it, still very in tune, very in touch, does a lot for the NFL, not just the Patriots as well. So that I may be 84, but operate younger. But at the end, he did talk about Jonathan Kraft, and he's like, look, my oldest son Jonathan has been a part of every major decision made by this franchise since they bought it. He's been in the room, he has a voice, and Robert Kraft said too, he doesn't like the limelight, and he kind of alluded to, yeah, you know, this is more than Patriots, it's everything business. Next 3 to 4 years we have a plan. Doesn't sound like he's stepping down now. And I would imagine with Vrabel coming in, him wanting to see them get back to the playoffs, I think Robert Kraft wants to be at the forefront for that.
Yeah.
But it was an interesting conversation to have because there's the 6 Super Bowl rings that Robert Kraft, Bill Belichick, and Tom Brady helped usher into New England and to Boston. Then there is the end of Tom Brady's tenure in New England, where Robert Kraft chose Bill Belichick over Tom Brady. He chose not to pay a quarterback. There is the end of the Bill Belichick tenure. And there was a hiring Gerard Mayo. There are like the black eyes
For sure.
recently for Robert Kraft,
Yeah.
where it does beg the question of, you're getting up there in age, it's been a long run, but does someone else need to be handling the day-to-day more?
I think you and I are uniquely equipped to talk about this because we always make fun of and talk about how Jerry Jones needs to go sit down somewhere and let Stephen Jones take over everything. And by the way, Stephen Jones, to his credit, his son, has shown he does have a football mind. He's been a part of some really good drafts there and player personnel and doing some good things for the Cowboys. But every time Jerry Jones gets in front of a camera and a microphone, he embarrasses himself. Each time, every season. Like, it just keeps getting worse and worse and worse, and we're just like, man, he needs to go sit down. His faculties ain't there. That's not the case with Robert Kraft. Jonathan Kraft is involved, just like Jerry's son is.
Yeah.
But Robert Kraft he's still with it. He's still got. I'm not even trying to be funny. He's older, but he's still okay.
His speech is slow when you hear him talk. But no. When you read it and you listen, you're like, oh, yeah.
It's slower.
He's sharp, man. He's sharp for 84.
That's right. It's slower, but it's still comprehensive.
Yeah.
I mean, Jerry, we don't even know what he's talking about half the time. He's just trailing off. So I think, look, Robert Kraft, say what you want, and you mentioned a lot of the recent year black eyes, if you will. But, man, he's earned the right to go out when he wants to go out. And I think his son has been a part of everything long enough now that when he does go out, it should be a seamless transition, should be. But I think Robert Kraft has earned the right to be on that post as long as he does. You can't fire owners. You can't trade owners, okay? What are you going to do? So he owns it. He has that decision-making. I think Robert Kraft, comparatively, when you look at Jerry Jones, Robert Kraft, you're doing just fine, sir. Thank you.
Because you know what he does? He responds to his own errors.
Yeah.
He doesn't let a mistake or a decision that isn't working out linger too long.
That's fair.
Bill Belichick had full control over football operations.
Mm-hmm.
Bill Belichick, after Josh McDaniels left, decided to bring in Matt Patricia.
That's right.
Abject disaster of an offense that broke a first-round pick in Mac Jones. What did Robert Kraft do the next year? You're hiring Bill O'Brien.
That's right.
Now, what could he not control? How many assistants Bill O'Brien was able to bring in.
Yeah.
Robert Kraft, baked into Gerard Mayo's contract, you will be the next head coach. Not a smart move.
Kept his word, though.
He wasn't ready.
Yeah.
He did it. And after, what was it? When did they have the bye? Like 14 games, let's say. Not even a full
Pretty
season.
much.
But the Cardinals game after the bye was the decision. This team looks like crap. You're done. He owned it, fired Gerard Mayo, and brought in Mike Vrabel. You think of a Jonathan Kraft. This is my thing with him. I think he's doing more day-to-day than we know. And he's fine with his dad taking the limelight because as much as you get to take credit for the wins, you also have to take the fire for the L's.
Absolutely.
Think of a Jonathan Kraft that also was like the person that was big on Robin Glazer having her role where she was in football operations in the franchise.
That's right.
A big proponent on her. She doesn't get pushed out by Jonathan Kraft. She gets pushed out by Robert Kraft.
That's right.
She gets pushed out by Mike Vrabel, who Robert Kraft wanted to hire.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I give him credit. And I think it boils down to Robert Kraft, Jonathan Kraft, Kraft Mayo, Kraft Cheese. Doesn't matter. Let football people run the football decisions.
Well, right. That at the end of the day, that's all that matters in that position. I'll give you a lot of credit because I remember I was banging the drum saying he's going to fire Gerard Mayo and admit he made a mistake. And your big thing was Robert Kraft would never do that. So kudos to you for giving him props of recognizing this isn't working.
Oh, yeah.
I have to pivot off my guy Gerard Mayo because I thought that was a pivotal moment for Robert Kraft to not be bullheaded, to not dig his feet in and say, this is going to work. No, this is wrong. Rip the Band-Aid off. Bring in Vrabel, who he should have hired to begin with. But even, listen, hiring of Gerard Mayo, even though it was a disaster, George, even though we kind of knew it would be a disaster because he was a rookie head coach with a whole new staff, guys who hadn't even been in a lot of those positions.
Yeah.
And the team wasn't good talent-wise. So we knew it wasn't going to work out. You still have to give Robert Kraft, if nothing else, credit for keeping his word to Gerard Mayo and being a man standing on what he said he was going to do and then delivering that. Like I said, when you compare Robert Kraft, who sure, maybe he's talking a little bit slower, moving a little slower these days, fine. But when you look out yonder in Dallas to Jera, and then you look at Robert Kraft, leave the man alone. Robert Kraft is just fine.
It's also a team that got dragged to the NFLPA report cards, right? Got an F.
Yeah.
They're going to debut a whole new practice, treatment, family facility next season. I think it's in 2026 it's coming. And again, it is you correct your errors before they festered too long. That's what I love about Jeff Lurie with the Eagles. That's what I love about Howie Roseman running that front office. Same type of thing. I think that's what they do so well. And it was interesting. He said, let's see what happens over the next 2 to 3 years. Mm-hmm. And I think that's Kraft, that's a discussion. Dude, he's 84. That's a discussion that's had 10 years ago.
Yeah.
This is a discussion that's had every year, if anything. Let's revisit everything. Like these smart billionaires, you know what you're doing to get to that point, let alone to become a millionaire. So what I love to, and you bring up the point of he fired Gerard Mayo, he owned it, I give him credit. And also, he's modernizing his team now.
Yeah.
They were able to do it one way for so long because Bill Belichick and Tom Brady were able to erase a lot of errors.
Right.
Now, new facility, new head coach. Look at the coaching staff. You have Josh McDaniels, who's the offensive coordinator. You have Thomas Brown, who's a passing game coordinator and tight ends coach.
That's right.
Todd Downing, a former OC, who's a wide receivers coach. Ashton Grant, who's a quarterbacks coach. And then you have 3 guys in charge of the offensive line, led by Doug Marrone. That's more resources poured into the coaching staff, and you know you're paying Mike Vrabel a pretty penny too.
Amen. And you have not one, but 2 really good quarterbacks.
Oh, okay.
In Drake May and Joe Milton.
So there were reports coming out, Mark Daniels and Karen Garigian of Mass Live. They
Yeah.
always do a great job. They're reporting teams have been calling the Patriots about Joe Milton.
Oh, that's interesting.
And it makes sense.
Does it?
Yes.
Well, what do you think about that?
I think he was a 6th round pick.
Okay.
And when he was drafted, he was taken in the 6th round for a reason. Has a talent, has the athleticism, has an insane arm strength. The accuracy isn't all the way there, and the processing isn't there. But he was
What do you mean by that?
processing decision making.
Look pretty good to me. Look pretty good to me.
Against a Bills team that was throwing the game.
Well, you said his decision making doesn't look good. Last seen, his decision making looked pretty good to me.
Against a Bills team that threw the game.
Okay.
What
Go
I'm saying,
on.
though, he was taken in the 6th round for a reason, but also this is a guy that was on a lot of teams' radars because of the God-given ability,
Sure.
the arm strength, the athleticism, his stature, everything like that. Drake May is more athletic, by the way. It makes sense teams are calling. If you get a 4th-round pick for Joe Milton, you trade him. Yes, he's a 6th-round pick that's played 1 football game. If you turn a 6th-round pick a year later into a 4th-round pick, that's good business. If you turn him into a 3rd-round pick, that's good business. They signed Josh Dobbs to a multi-year deal. That's the backup quarterback.
Oh.
Real quick, before you go,
Oh.
this is what Vrabel said, too. I think Joe has done everything they've asked him to do last year. Sounds like in conversations he worked extremely hard. And that's when you're a quarterback. Everyone wants to play. Everyone wants to be a starter. Everybody. And that's great to have that attitude. He's ready for his opportunity. He was ready for his opportunity there late in the season, which I commend him on. Just like I would any player that sat there and went through a long season, a difficult season, and got the opportunity, went out, won a football game, played well, helped his team win. And then where that leads to, we'll see as the draft approaches, or where Joe is on April 7th to start our offseason program. But you have to give Joe credit for being ready to go, going from the 3rd QB to being able to win that football game, staying ready, staying hungry. Mike Vrabel on Joe Milton. Go ahead.
All I'm saying is this. You want to take a 6th-round pick right now who has shown signs of promise and flip them for a 4th-rounder. For what? Whatever happened to developing talent? I mean, just imagine around here. If you took a 6th-round pick who showed talent at the quarterback position and you decided, you know what? We're going to move him, try to get a 4th-rounder to back up Drew Bledsoe. How would that have worked out? How's no dynasty sound? Now, I'm not comparing Joe Milton and Tom Brady.
You just did.
Well, in a way, I did. But what I'm saying is, develop the kid. He's shown promise. You drafted him for a reason. He was on team's radar for a reason. The kid is built. I'd call the Dodgers an Avenger. He's built like Thor. Like, develop his game. If something happens to Drake May, voila, we have this amazing kid come in, and we can still win games. Now, if he comes in and he sets the world on fire and, like, we got to move this guy, Drake May's our guy, this kid's too good, then maybe you can flip him. And it won't be a 4th at that point, will it? Because you'll have a bigger sample size. I just think everyone's rushing the gun. You're jumping the gun with this kid. Develop him. Keep him here. He's cheap. He's on a rookie deal, for God's sakes. Let him and Drake grow together.
That I don't hate. Let it age.
Yes.
Let him get better. His price will go up. There'll be more QB-needy teams. And I don't think this is necessarily a guy that will get traded before April 24th when the NFL draft happens.
He could.
Yeah, but I think this is a guy that could get traded in September. Someone goes down.
Right.
Right before the trade deadline. Someone goes down.
Could be draft night, too.
Could
You
be
never
next
know.
season. Exactly.
Could be draft night.
But to everything you say, and I get it, Drake May, literally, tangibly, we see, looks like Justin Herbert, looks like Josh Allen. Joe Milton, you just don't know.
Looks like Cam Newton.
Yeah.
He looks like Cam
You're
Newton.
really watering down what a league MVP did in Cam Newton.
Well, fair. I also compared him to Brady.
I know.
So
I
what
get
am I
it.
doing?
No, I get it.
But-
you look at him, you're like, that's a football player.
Yes.
That's the first guy off the bus. I 1,000%
Yes.
get it. But there are people that know more than us. He was a 6th-round pick
Yeah.
for a reason. Brady was a 6th-round pick for a reason, too. And he wasn't Tom Brady the first 5-6 years
That's
as a
right.
starter.
But they
Then,
developed him.
2006,
That's my point.
2007. Drake May's that guy, though.
I just think it's too microwavable nowadays. It's probably a bigger issue for quarterbacks these days.
Yeah.
But I just think it's like, keep him. What's the big deal? I could see if he
That's fine.
him, and then when he does get in on these small sample sizes and he keeps crushing it, which by the way he'll do if you develop him,
Yeah.
then you can move him later on or move to him if you had to. This is a violent league. What if Drake May all of a sudden gets concussion issues like Tua?
Yeah.
Well, now you just traded away a guy who could have been the future.
Yeah, I agree. Hey, it's a good convo. Catch more of that on Foxborough Rush. Make sure to catch all our podcasts. Foxborough Rush, everything Patriots, Hold My Banner, everything Celtics,
Yes.
Hockey Hub for hockey and the Bruins. Of course, Boston is End of the Chat Daily. Hey, guys, we will be around Fenway Park before first pitch on Friday.
Yep.
You see Trav's big, beautiful bald head, or you see my short self walking around. Make sure to say hi, stop by. We'd love to have a convo with you guys. You guys make our day. The comments, you watching, you commenting with us, talking with us, tweeting at us.
Yes.
So make sure to catch new episodes of Foxborough Rush. Boston's Entered the Chat 5 days a week.
Yep.
We'll have a special one dropping on Friday. See you guys then.